I'm Tristan Ryan. I'm running for Finance and Operations and Director of Finance and Operations on the slate Involve UVic. I think that there's a lot more that we can do as students at the university to take a leadership role in issues of climate justice while still remaining financially responsible. And I think that there's a really real vacuum of leadership in that regard that I'd like to step into. Sure. I'd really like to see the sub transition to a carbon neutral building. It could be very cost effective and a benefit for the university's sustainability brand in the long run to do this. And it shows much needed environmental leadership at UVic. Hopefully, we have a referendum question coming up on the March 4th election for Divest UVic. And if that passes, we'll have a mandate to lobby on behalf of the UVic student body for the fossil fuel divestment. So although the finance and ops portfolio isn't traditionally, the job description doesn't read as a student advocacy role so much as other positions do, I'd really like to use the time that I have beyond managing finance and operations in the sub to collaborate and coordinate with my fellow executives and my fellow directors at large to pressure the university to take leadership on fossil fuel divestment. With respect to the Students of Color Collective, I think it's really unfortunate that it's taken this long for them to receive funding as a group. So I'm very much in favor in supporting that referendum question. The food bank and free store referendum question is really just moving funds from the election fund into the food bank fund, and the election fund was created before UVic used a web vote system. So every year they have a lot of extra money left over because the way that we vote now is much more efficient than using paper ballots. So it just seems natural to reallocate that money, and it's easy for me to support that as well. I personally believe that anyone who's working at school should not have to incur large amounts of student debt. So I'm on the side of having reasonably high wages for sub-employees. I think that people deserve to, if they are working hard to work and attend school at the same time, that they shouldn't be making $8, $10, whatever an hour. That said, I do think that some of the sub-businesses could use a menu update to remain competitive with what's on offer at Mystic Market, particularly with respect to vegan, vegetarian options at the International Grill and Health Food Bar, more exciting menu choices, even at Felicitas. I believe there's only a couple of vegan options. And even for alternative diets, like folks who eat paleo or eat low carb, there's not a whole lot of real exciting, I don't know, food that even fits these dietary restrictions anywhere on campus. And I think that's the way that the sub-buildings businesses could stay competitive with Mystic Market. Thankfully, that is changing. We have the benefit of looking back on past divestment campaigns, like in South Africa with 2020 hindsight. And governments did not jump on board immediately, and they fought very hard against the demands being made. And only once that movement reached a critical mass did governments start to hop on board with institutions like universities and churches. And fortunately, our municipal government, we have a mayor and 3 councillors who are pushing very hard for fossil fuel divestment of Victoria's public funds. So we are seeing governments hop on board. We're starting to reach that critical mass moment. But we have to understand that this campaign is only a couple years in, and most successful divestment campaigns reach their goals within 6 to 7 years. So I just like to draw attention to where we're at with respect to the timeline of a movement, I suppose. But with specific regard to scholarships and bursaries, fossil fuel divestment would not negatively affect the value of our endowment fund. In fact, funds that have been divested have been outperforming carbon-intensive funds over the past year. So students who are worried about their scholarships and bursaries, I don't want to tell them not to worry and not to be engaged with the divestment issue, but I'd just like them to acknowledge the fact that their scholarships come out of a healthy endowment fund regardless of what that fund is composed of, and that fossil fuel divestment is very much compatible with a healthy endowment fund.